And the man who featured BYU 4 different times in his top 25 best non-conference games of the 2015 season, Brett Ciancia, co-owner of Pick 6 Previews and a college football insider, joins BYU Sports Nation now. Brett, welcome to BYU Sports Nation.
Hey, Spencer. Thanks for having me on.
We are 100 days away from BYU opening the season at Nebraska. According to your article yesterday, that was the highest ranked of the 4 BYU games, number 15 overall. How do you pass the time until the actual games like BYU-Nebraska begin?
I know. It's been a long off season. We just passed the halfway mark, so, it's fun to look ahead to these matchups. At BYU, their September schedule is absolutely loaded. So definitely looking forward to their preseason. But, yeah, just run through the list. BYU, you have 5 major opponents on the schedule, and it was hard to get all 5 in there. I snuck 4 in there for you, but it's going to be very interesting moving forward.
Okay, let's start with Nebraska. You featured the Cornhuskers as the highest of the 4 games at number 15 overall. Why did you feel like BYU-Nebraska was the most intriguing of the 4 September games?
So I had that highest because it's Mike Riley's first game in Nebraska. It's a new era there. Also, both teams obviously come in unbeaten, so no tarnishes on the record yet. I want to see Nebraska's rushing attack against BYU's strong rush defense. I think they match up well that way. And then the more games that BYU wins in this September, each one gets more important. So, I mean, at the beginning, the first one is the most important, and especially when you factor in the opponent there. So,
Brett, how many wins in September would be considered a success for BYU?
I think definitely 2. If you can get out of the 2-2 is a huge win. I mean, UCLA top 10 team. You play them 3rd. Boise State's kind of a Fiesta Bowl victory, and they're always at the top in the AQ team. And then you have the 2 Big Ten teams going to change still, nonetheless. Their national brands, Nebraska and Michigan. Factor in 3 of them are on the road. I mean, it's equivalent. So I think 2, you got to be happy with that. But the sky's the limit with Taysom Hill coming back.
Yeah, I've been saying 2-2 in September would make any BYU fan extremely happy. And we've looked at the recent tough September schedules that BYU has played. 2004, they had USC and Stanford, Boise State, and Notre Dame. They opened that season 1-3. In 1991, they had a similar schedule and opened that 1-3. So 2 wins would really be good. Now, Nebraska hasn't lost a home opener in 30 years. 1985, I believe they lost to Florida State, who was a ranked team. Why do you feel like BYU has a legitimate shot to be the team to end that streak in Lincoln on September 5th?
When I look at BYU, I see obviously Taysom Hill, you have an explosive, dynamic quarterback at the helm. You have your returning rusher, leading rusher, returning leading receiver, and most parts of the O-line are back. So right away, I see an explosive offense. Defensively, BYU under Mendenhall has always been known for their stingy run defense. Meanwhile, the pass rush needs some work, and the pass looks a little sketchy right now. But when you factor in Nebraska's strengths and weaknesses, BYU matches up pretty well. Nebraska with Tommy Armstrong, his passing the ball. He's had trouble making reads. He has some errant passes. So, but Nebraska is his passing, which matches BYU's weakness.
Brett,
so it's going to be I'm sorry.
Yeah, Brett, we're losing the connection just a little bit. We're going to reconnect with you, so we'll get you back on the line in just a moment. But, Brian, while we have a second and we're reconnecting with Brett, let's talk about what he brings up with BYU and Nebraska and goes back to my point in the A block, and that is the offense coming back. You say that there are a ton of question marks. It is a 3-headed monster. I feel like we know exactly what we're going to have with BYU, and whether
that's healthy though. You have Taysom Hill. I mean, he looked.
Taysom will be healthy.
I mean, he will be healthy. He looked the part, right, in spring, but it's spring ball. What really goes on during spring ball? Nothing. You're just brushing up on your skills. You're not really going live, full contact. So we really don't know if he's going to come back the same player he is.
Do you feel like
Taysom's honest?
Do you feel like he's an honest guy?
Yeah,
I asked him last week. Okay, be straight with me, Taysom. Are you going to be 100% by September 5th? And he said, "I'll be better than I was last year."
Bro, I'm gonna say the same thing to you. What?
Okay.
No
I'm just
athlete in their right mind is gonna say, you know what? I had 5 injuries now, and because of that, I'm gonna be half the player.
He's been hurt twice his entire football career.
Half the player that I'm gonna be. Nobody in their right mind is gonna say that. Like, yeah, I'm not. If I can come out here, Spencer, and just throw 1 touchdown pass, I'll be satisfied. No, I'm coming to play the game.
I don't think every player is like Taysom. I feel like Taysom is realistic. He's a realistic personality. If he couldn't play, he'd tell me.
Yeah, but not being able to play and playing and not being able to be the same player, dynamic, explosive player that you once were are 2 different things. I can go and play a full game right now. I might need to tap out every other play.
This isn't about you,
every other play, but am I still?
About you.
But listen to me. But am I still going to be explosive? Am I still going to have the same speed, the quickness? And that's what I'm saying when it comes to an injury from Taysom and Jamal. It has nothing to do with the ability to play. You can play. Anybody can go and play the game or a sport, but are your injuries going to allow you to lose a step?
Was Taysom explosive after his first serious knee injury?
He was.
He was, and he will be that way, which is why I think, and I agree with Brett, they've got a shot against Nebraska because Jamal, I'll give you. That's a question mark. He's coming off major surgery.
So with that being said, you have Algie Brown. Can Algie take care of the load? You talk about Adam Hine, but Adam has only showed up in the special teams game. So what? You're relying on Algie, who has barely had some reps and experience. His last year was his first time. His last year was his first time.
We'll continue this later. We've got Brett Ciancia back on the line, co-owner of Pick Six Previews and a college football insider. Okay, Brett, now that we've reestablished the connection, we were talking about Nebraska. They haven't lost a home opener in 30 years. Let's go to game number 2. BYU at home against Boise State. Quite the opener for the LaVell Edwards Stadium crew with the Broncos coming in off of a New Year's 6 game. Boise State loses Grant Hedrick, their quarterback, and Jay Ajayi to the NFL. So why all of the hype around Boise State?
All the hype is the only 2 guys that do lose. They returned 19 starters. So a lot of, actually, they're pretty young, and they went all the way to the Fiesta Bowl. So all that talent's back. The second-year coach under Vern Carson. So you return pretty much everyone except for those 2 stars. It will be a new quarterback and second start ever coming off of they open up with Washington. So they might be a little banged up. But, it's a younger team that's more experienced now, and they're always one of the top non-AQ teams. So it's going to be a tough one, a tough home opener.
Brett Ciancia with us on BYU Sports Nation. Boise State returns 19 starters. Okay, you had me at 19 starters.
Mm-hmm. Enough said.
Like they lose some individual talent for sure. But game number 3 for BYU at UCLA, this is a projected top 10 team. They, too, lose a quarterback, Brett Hundley, to the NFL. Are they in a situation like Boise State returning a number of starters? Why are they so high on your projected list?
Yeah, so exactly. So 19 starters back. The strong defense rolling back except for Brett Hundley, essentially. But both of these bode well for BYU, like I mentioned earlier. I think the one glaring weakness was defense, secondary. And for these teams, they don't have an established quarterback or an established passing attack yet. So that's in that regard.
Great stuff. Brett, great to have you on the show. We look forward to all 4 of those games you have BYU featured in. And we wish you the best as you pass the time. 98 days away from the college football opener and 100 days away from BYU and Nebraska. Thanks, Brett.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.